Hello, Magic players and collectors. Welcome back to the Land Library. I'm your librarian, and in this episode of latest Loadout, I'm going over Marvel's Spider-Man. This set released September 26th of 2025, and is a Universes Beyond set, but is standard legal. And while I don't normally cover the digital cards on Arena, I will be mentioning some here. I don't know all of the details, but because of some licensing stuff, Wizards can't put the Spider-Man cards on Arena, but they also can't just not put a standard set on Arena, so instead they made a parallel set that's digital, Arena only, called Through the Omen Paths, which is mechanically exactly the same as the Spider-Man set, but uses different art and sometimes different names when necessary. So I'll be including these digital-only variants when I go over their corresponding physical cards. And now let's get into it. Obviously, starting off the returning lands are the basics. There's surprisingly few, though, with one regular print of each, and then one full art print of each. These full arts have spider webs in the shape of the mana symbols, which is such a cool way to do it. I really like these. And there is also a set of basics from Secret Lair featuring Venom, and they are looking a lot like the Phyrexian Oil Slick basics. These are really cool. Also in the Secret Lair drops, there's two prints of Command Tower, a land that taps for any color in your commander's color identity, and I don't think I really needed to explain that, but that's what I do here, so I did anyway. And that's actually it for returning lands, just basics and Command Tower. There is not even anything to put in Rapid Fire since there's no Commander set or Jumpstart set, and the Welcome decks only have basics in them. Starting off the new lands, we've got a cycle of allied colored dual lands. These lands enter tapped, tap for either of their colors, and can pay 4 generic to tap and surveil 1. These include Ominous Asylum, Savage Mansion, Sinister Hideout, Suburban Sanctuary, and University Campus. The Through the Omen Paths versions are all under the same names, but do have different art, featuring classic Magic the Gathering core IP locations. Next up is Terramorphic Expanse. Evolving Wilds. No, wait, it's Vibrant Cityscape. This land is the third of its kind, which simply taps and sacks to search for any basic land and put it in play tapped. And here's the Through the Omen Paths version. Then there's a couple of tricolors, although they aren't part of a cycle together. Urban Retreat, which comes in tapped, taps for any of the banned colors, or at sorcery speed for 2 generic and the extra cost of returning a tapped creature you control to your hand. You can put it on the battlefield from your hand, bypassing your land drop for turn. And this card has an extended art as well as the Through the Omen Paths version. And the other tricolor is Oscorp Industries, which also comes in tapped, taps for Grixis colors, and has Mayhem, which lets it be played from your graveyard if it was discarded this turn. However, Mayhem does not get around your land drop, and unrelated to Mayhem, if it's played from your graveyard by anything, you lose 2 life. This also has an extended art, but is replaced in Through the Omen Paths with Exclusive Nightclub. Then a land that can make any color, Daily Bugle Building. It can tap for colorless, pay a generic and tap for 1 of any color, or at sorcery speed, you can pay a generic and tap to give a target legendary creature menace until end of turn. This one was also replaced in Through the Omen Paths with Fearsome Ridgeline. Now for the final land of the set, Multiversal Passage. This land is pretty fun. When it enters, you choose a basic land type, and you can pay 2 life for it to enter untapped like a shock land. Then, it just is that basic land type, so it inherently gets the ability to tap for the corresponding color, and becomes interactable with anything that cares about basic types. This land also has a borderless art print, the only one in the set with a borderless, and of course, the Through the Omen Paths version. Alright, let's get the most obvious thing out of the way first. Vibrant Cityscape is just a clone of Terramorphic Expanse, which is already in Standard. So the only real change it makes is how many you can have in a deck, But Terramorphic Expanse is already not very used because of how slow it is fetching things tapped, so it's not really any benefit for constructed play, but it does go pretty well in limited formats. But yeah, otherwise it just has no real impact on anything. Then the dual colors. These are fine. They're pretty mid as far as dual colors go. They don't have basic types or any ability to come in untapped. And although they do have repeatable surveils, the cost on them is just so high. There's better ways to repeatably surveil and better dual colors currently in standard, and it's outclassed by even more options in Commander, so there's not much of a reason to play these outside of limited as well. Oscorp Industries is in a kind of mid place too, although it at least is usable outside of limited. It is slow, which is typical of tricolors, but still not optimal. And even if it wasn't, Grixis just isn't a very commonly played color combo right now, in standard at least. And its only other abilities are a limited way to get it out of your graveyard, but then a punishment for doing so. It's not terrible, because you can still get value from things like Kefka Court Mage, seeing as how other players are unlikely to discard lands, and you can just immediately get it back, but its usefulness is pretty circumstantial. Then we have Urban Retreat. It's a bit better, but it's still kinda circumstantial. Coming in tapped is slow, of course, but its ability to get around your land drop kinda negates that. If you can play 2 lands in one turn, it doesn't matter very much if one was slow. You're still up a land. It also pairs really well with mechanics from the last set, Edge of Eternities. For example, warp in something big like Bygone Colossus, tap it to station a spaceship or planet, then bounce it back to your hand before Warp exiles it. This also works for any other ability that temporarily puts something on the battlefield, so you can just get it back into your hand before it's gone, or even getting rid of undesirable creatures your opponent could put on your board. It can also protect creatures from your opponent's spells, but it being a sorcery speed does limit that use pretty substantially. It has its place, but it isn't like universally useful. Now, Daily Bugle building is pretty decent. It comes in untapped and is a typical filter land, which is kinda low power, but not bad. However, its ability to give menace to a legendary creature for only 1 mana is kinda huge. It's great for getting past blockers, but you can force bigger trades or even try and clear your opponent's board a bit, all of which can help with triggering other effects too. In the right deck, this land can really pack a punch, but it also isn't just useful in anything. Finally, the best for last, or at least my personal favorite, Multiversal Passage. It's basically a wildcard shockland, but just not searchable because it only has a basic type while it's on the battlefield. But it still gets all the bonuses of being a basic land type while there, and gets the choice of whatever you need at the time. It can color fix for you, it can power up creatures like Illuge and Coiling Woodworm, it adds to spells like Rockslide Ambush and Consuming Corruption. It can help with Affinity, and it can even provide support for things outside of like your commander's color, such as Domain, or the effects of cards like Slavering Knolls or Arctic Aven in monocolored decks. There are even more things it can interact with, but I think you get the point. Granted, other than the outside colors, these things can also just be done by regular basics or like shocklands, and you're unlikely to really be running multiple of these things in different colors in a single deck for that choice to really be that impactful, but it's still a really cool card that can be used in a variety of situations and is already seeing a pretty decent amount of play in Commander. For Standard, this set's lands just aren't doing much. None of them are like meta level. Some of them are like decently usable in less competitive play, so it still gets a point, but it only gets the one. This set does a lot more in Commander. Multiversal Passage and Daily Bugle are really good. Tricolored decks are more prevalent, so the tricolors are a bit better. But Vibrant Cityscape and the duels are pretty irrelevant, so it definitely can't get like full points. The theme, on the other hand, does get full points. I've said it before, but Universes Beyond sets are basically just theme incarnate, and this set is no exception. It is super thematic. For the art, the lands in this set are a bit lackluster in the art department. I feel like I can only give it like a 4 out of 10. There's less basics than normal. There's only one borderless and two extended arts. There's no showcase or bonus sheet lands, although I guess you could count the Omen Paths cards as like extra arts, but that's less of them choosing to make more prints and more of just, a necessity because of licensing. Don't get me wrong, the art that's there is really good. I especially love the Venom and Web basics, but there's just so little of it. Overall, that is a 13 out of 25. This is a score right in the middle. There's some cool stuff in this one, but it mostly just suffers from the low numbers of lands in the set. If you've made it this far in the video, please drop a like for turn and subscribe for more Landfield content. If I missed anything, got anything wrong, or you just have questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next latest loadout when the Avatar: The Last Airbender set comes out.